So I recently watched PogChamps and I got really excited about learning and competing in chess. I've competed in other games like StarCraft and got grandmasters in both StarCraft, Dota, and also in Hearthstone. And I wanted to know how difficult it is in chess to reach the level of grandmaster. So I got to researching and I found multiple series and videos on the topic. And what I found was you can see from the videos these guys they they all got a little bit of MMR, but they didn't get very far, and most of the series stopped before they got anywhere. And then this guy who ended up challenging Magnus Carlsen to a match after only practicing chess for 30 days. We all know how that went. It was a bit of a shit show. Uh, but there was a common theme, and that was that people seem to underestimate the difficulty of learning chess or getting good at chess. And so that kind of got me down this path of having wild theories around why this might be the case. I thought maybe there was some sort of chess guru or chess Yoda or something that you had to talk to, and he could only talk to a certain number of people every year, so only a few people got good. But the most likely thing that I could think about was that it actually takes quite a while for your brain to get used to having to use your memory at at a certain level. We don't usually have to use our memory to the extent that high level chess players have to, and maybe that process of change or growth just takes a long time. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing a 10-week challenge in order to try and reach around 1700 rating from about 1050. So I've only been playing for about a month so far. And the reason I chose 1700 is because I was looking at the way that the rank distribution is like in chess, and I found that it's really bottom heavy compared to other games. And I'm not sure if this, my research or analysis was true or not, but given that people have found it quite difficult to rank up in chess, I thought that 1700 in 10 weeks was a reasonable goal, and then if I want to continue after that, I can set a new one. And I'm going to document my process along the way. I haven't been taking it seriously yet, but on when I start the series, then yeah, I'll put all the practices that I'm going to in place. I'm going to be using all the things I've learned from getting to grandmasters in other games that I think were effective, and applying them to chess. And one of the reasons I'm doing this is because if I do manage to make it and climb quite quickly, then maybe this information is going to be useful for other people's learning as well. So I'm just going to start by stating some things that are pretty obvious. I'm going to have to play a lot of games, and I know that a lot of people can get anxious about ranks and stuff like that. Like when you achieve a certain rank, and you don't want to lose that rank, that can really slow down your progress. From my perspective, it shouldn't matter what your rank is. It's more about doing the daily progress, having your process, doing it every day, not really worrying about ranks, and you'll just find your rank going up anyway. But it's important to keep in mind, and it is an important mindset, because I know a lot of people, when I was climbing in other games, they get fixated on what rank they are, and they sort of just get stuck because they don't want to play anymore. They're really scared about the different opponents they verse, like someone that's a higher rank than them. They're really scared about versing them because in their mind, they believe that they're going to lose 100% of the time, and they can make you really anxious and not play to the best of your ability, or even learn from the games that you're playing, because now you've got the excuse, this guy was just better than me, I'm not going to play this person all the time, so there's nothing really I can learn from it. It'd be better for me to learn from someone closer to my rank, something like that. But getting that out of the way, what I'm going to be doing first and foremost is I'm going to be trying to find a winning style, and to do this, I'm going to be looking at different pros whose style that I like and I can get on board with, as well as personalities that I actually want to. I'm going to have to watch this person a lot, so personalities that I enjoy watching, and I'm going to be watching their games, learning their openings, understanding what their goal is throughout the games. That's really important as well. There's information, which is sort of like the openings that they're doing, and I can memorize easily. But really, the goals behind what their players, like the ideas, the ways that they're thinking, is much more important to me. They got to where they are for a certain reason, and usually it's because they have the way that they think is different to other people, and they've sort of mastered, or they've made that a really efficient process. So learning that is really the key. Well, both of them, the openings and their goals or the way that they think. And I'm going to have to make that research a regular habit. It's not something I'm going to do once and find someone, learn their openings, learn what I think they're going to do, what they do, and then just apply it. It's something that you'll have to, and I will have to go over and over again in order to just reinforce that knowledge and really make sure that uh, I'm learning and understanding. Like, it's every time you go back over one of those, someone's games, like a pros games, and you've been practicing and learning yourself, you'll find all of these like little things come up, little bits of knowledge that you just didn't see before. And so it's really important to just keep on doing this process. And I know that's a process that's really helped me skyrocket in ranks in other games as well. The second thing I'm going to be focusing on is something that I personally do intuitively, but I've noticed a lot of people don't do it intuitively. And I think it's a very key skill to you gaining ranks quickly if that is your goal. And that is to simplify down and find what the winning information is, the information that's going to help you the most. Like if we were going to use something like the 80-20 rule or something, it's the 20% of information that's going to yield you 80% of the results. But it's because when you're competing, you want to be able to keep things simple. There are things that I need to know in order to have the highest chance to win, and things that will just clog up my thought process. And I remember very specifically in StarCraft, like I had no idea how much damage things did or how much health buildings had. And the funny thing was my bronze level, silver level friends, they knew that shit. And I had no idea why, they learned it or they thought that information would help them play. But it was something that I knew didn't value or didn't really increase my win rate at all. And so that's the kind of information that sort of clogs up your thought process and may not help you in the long run. Who knows? Maybe learning those things would have helped, maybe it wouldn't, but it definitely wasn't information that stopped me from getting to a Grandmaster level. The third thing I'm going to be focusing on is my physical and mental health. It's something that in the past I kind of overlooked, but for me now, like eating well, exercising, doing yoga, meditation, those sorts of things are my personal habits, and I want to make sure to keep them going throughout this challenge. And personally, I love Healthy Gamer and everything that they stand for. I've watched pretty much every interview, every lecture, and I want to take what I've learned into doing this challenge as well. I myself have struggled with anxiety a lot in the past. There was even a point where I was too scared and feeling too much fear to even leave my room. And so I know how important it is to maintain these habits and even just like talk about this kind of stuff. It helps a lot with staying sane and relieving stress and things like that. On top of that, I want to focus on things that are going to improve my mind. And, maybe that's eating more fish or getting just a good amount of sleep every night. Because something I've noticed is that both Hikaru and Magnus, they have this amazing ability to recall past games, historic games, and just by looking at the positions that they have on their board, they can say like, this happened in 1929 and these were the players and these were the ideas. And that ability, I think, is going to be pretty crucial later on down the line in being able to recognize what my opponents are doing and maybe even the positions that I'm in. And then on top of that, they have this incredible ability to calculate moves in their mind, like, the next 20 moves or 10 moves or whatever in their mind, which is something that I've noticed that I definitely struggle with at the moment. And the last thing I'm going to be focusing on is building a community and getting coaching from someone that I resonate with, someone that I actually feel is going to help me a lot. And this might take some time to do both, but I think it's something, again, something I overlooked previously, is that having a community behind you and building a community around what you're doing, it not only helps other people trying to achieve similar things and sort of like give them strength and like help them to achieve more, but it also helps you, have more motivation to do those sorts of things, to have some accountability and to just feel good about what you're doing, have that support. And coaching, that's even more important, like finding that a person that can look at what you're doing and know exactly what you need to do to improve and the things you need to work on in order to improve. That's going to be the biggest, the biggest thing that's going to help me out. And I think it'll take quite a while to find someone to do that. But hopefully that I can include some sessions with coaches, the coaches that I find or coach that I find, uh, that you guys can watch as well and see how they do the coaching, how I am as a student, and the things that I take away from coaching as well. Now there are some unknowns and potential complications in chess, and this is very like when I was thinking about it, it's not similar to other games. Like in most games, you have a strategy or you have a character or a race or whatever, and you have a set thing that you execute and you do, and you're like, this is my thing. And but chess, you have black, which is kind of like you're playing a purely like defensive or purely reactive a reactive side. And I'm not sure if my mindset towards playing black is incorrect, but it does feel like it's going to be quite difficult doing both. Like you have to learn how to you got to learn a strategy and execute it, but you've also got to know how to react to a wide array of strategies and what to do against certain ideas. And so I think just having this dynamic of having an attacker and a reactive player is something that I just haven't had before. I don't think, not in this, like at this level. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about is thinking under stress. I'm not sure if at like a competitive level you're required to actually think in chess, because in most games and sports, most of the thinking is done before the actual game. Like they'll think about strategies, how to execute it, they'll practice certain things, and all of that is with the goal in mind that while you're playing the game, instead of focusing on what's going on in your mind and deeply thinking, you're just going to get into flow state, enjoy the game, execute what you've practiced, not having to think, and just really focus on the things that you've spent the time, you put all your time in previous to the game to execute and win. And I'm not sure if chess is the same here. I think I get the feeling that chess might have a little bit of deep thinking while you're playing, and that's something that I just haven't encountered before, so I'm quite interested in that as well. And I mean, again, these last two things, I'm not sure if they're complications or if they're even true or not. It's just something that when I was thinking about doing this challenge is they might be obstacles I have to overcome. So that's everything I've thought about so far. If you want to follow the series, hit that subscribe button. I'll put my videos out on YouTube, and head on over to Twitch and follow me there, or if I'm live, watch.